right, well, let's go ahead and get into Jordan. We're having some issues on our end, so Drew's going to have to do my presentation video. So Jordan is, here's the flag, and it's, as you see there, black and white and green, and then it has a red triangle. But those are colors that are used often in that part of the world. Have you done Israel? Uncle Sam did Israel. So Jordan and Israel are going to be really related as we get into this, and we'll show you a little bit more about that. But Jordan is. Let's go to the next slide and show you. Sure. As you see on the map, you see the brown. What you remember? What the brown represents?
Deserts and mountains.
Deserts and mountains. See, I don't know if it's hard to see there, but the country's highlighted in the red right in the middle of the screen.
It's a little bit hard to see because the stuff around it is camouflaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I see it.
That's Jordan, and you're right. It's Quinn. It's mostly all desert, and that's we'll see some pictures of that here in a little bit. But just to the left of that,
is Israel.
Yeah, just to the left of that is Israel, and just to the bottom left, more desert down there is Egypt with that green river. I know you studied with Adrian in Egypt. So rivers are important, and we'll talk about that. Jordan has a river also that we'll get into.
Why does Hayden get the poo-poo bunny every day?
All right, so there's 3 important bodies of water in Jordan. And one is actually the river, which is what the country was named after, the Jordan River up there at the top. Well, you see where
Sea and Red Sea. There's the Red Sea.
Yeah, the Red Sea actually goes down further. But see that? I'm sorry, go ahead.
The Jordan River, the Dead Sea, and the Red Sea. We've heard of all of those.
Yes, they're all in the Bible, and we'll talk about that. But see down there where the Red Sea is?
All in the countries we've learned about.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And anyway, that part that goes up to Jordan there, where we pointed, that's just a little finger of the Red Sea. The rest of it goes over there by Egypt and all the way down. But that's part of the ocean, the Red Sea. The Dead Sea, even though it says it's a sea, it's not really an ocean, but it's called a sea because it's so salty. And we'll talk about that too. But the other body of water, the Jordan River, is up there at the top, and that separates Israel from the country of Jordan, but it's actually a river.
I'm learning.
All right. So here's a picture of each of the 3 bodies of water with some tourists in it. Over on the left, the Jordan River, it's hard to see, but it's not what I would have expected with the river. It's pretty brown and not very wide. We learned a song when we were kids about the Jordan River is deep and wide, and it's neither. But that spot right across from where we're at there on the left, the picture on the left of the river, that's actually the spot where Jesus was baptized, and that's actually on the Jordan side. We're on the Israel side, but over there that you can see in the picture, that's Jordan. And
which picture is that, Uncle Gary?
The one on the left, the Jordan River.
Jordan River one. Got it.
Okay. And in the middle picture, the Dead Sea, that's Jordan in the background you see there, but Aunt Barb and I are right in front of a sign that says it's the lowest spot on earth. It's way below sea level, and it's part of a geological formation, but it's the sea is so salty. When you get in, you come out and your whole skin is just covered with salt. It dries up quickly, and you know what? You can't even drown in the Dead Sea. Aunt Barb had to help me pull my legs down on the ground because they were so, I was floating so much, I couldn't even push my legs down. But why do you think they call it the Dead Sea?
Because it's hard to be in.
Yeah, people could, you could drown, I guess, but it's hard to drown. Actually, it's called, what'd you say, Quinn?
I have an idea.
Okay.
Because like maybe like I think we've learned about this before. Like water goes down it and then it just like stops there instead of, but it evaporates. But that's like where it stops.
Yeah, there's the Jordan River flows into the Dead Sea, but the Dead Sea actually doesn't go anywhere. It just stops there, and all the minerals from the river just get deposited there, and it gets real salty. And the Dead Sea water is actually twice as salty as the ocean. You know how salty the
Wow.
ocean water is. The Dead Sea is even twice as salty as the ocean.
That's really cool.
And that's why nothing can grow there. No fish can't swim there.
Wow.
Plants can't grow in it. There's no fish, no plants at all, because nothing can grow. It's so salty.
So that's why it's the Dead Sea. Nothing can live there.
That's why it's called the Dead Sea.
Got it. Hayden has a question, I think. She's doing a good job of raising her hand patiently.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Where did Jesus get baptized?
Over here on the Jordan River, that right there behind Aunt Barb and I, that's the Jordan River. And that.
See the Jordan River.
I'm sorry?
We can't see the Jordan River in the
Oh.
picture.
We can't.
Oh, you can't see it in the picture. Yeah, they're standing next to the river. But it's
Yeah.
not, it's like maybe brown
right.
in that picture.
It's right behind my cap. That's the river right there. And see, there's a little building there on the shore. That's the spot where they believe Jesus was baptized, right there.
And Uncle
I
Gary,
think the
after
water
people go,
was-
oh, sorry, go ahead, Quinn.
The water was probably cleaner back then, though.
Yes, I'm sure it was more clear. And maybe it had just rained here, and that's why it's kind of brown.
And so, Gary, after people go in the water in the Dead Sea and they get all salty, do they typically like rub their arm to make use of the salt on like their hamburgers and their fries, or what do they do?
Well, actually, we rinsed off immediately because it was starting to sting. It was so salty.
Ooh.
I mean, you're just covered with salt.
It was starting to stink.
Sting,
Sting,
pain.
sting,
Dang.
like a,
It's like if you got salt in your eye. No good.
yeah, and they have showers right there on the beach to wash it off, because you need to get it washed off quickly because it will start stinging if you have a cut at all.
Wow.
You know, but that's the Dead Sea. So the last body of water here on the right is
It's
the Red
the-
Sea. I'm sorry?
The Red Sea is where Moses holding up his hands, and then the Israelites crossed through, and the Egyptians couldn't get them, and they drowned in there.
You're right. Very good. You've been taught very well there. Aunt Barb, I have a picture. She a video, but I didn't post it. But she actually put her hand down and tried to make the water move, but it didn't part for her. So I guess she's not Moses. But that's,
Yes, can I do this?
yes.
That must have been the trick. If she would have done
That
that, it might have worked.
That was very good, Quinn. Very dramatic. Yeah.
One, didn't have the staff, and two, God probably didn't want him to do that.
All right. Well, very good. All right. Let's learn a little bit about Jordan here. It's not quite as big as Pennsylvania. You see the outline. Pennsylvania's in the blue there, and Jordan's in the red. So it's a little bit smaller than Pennsylvania, but it has almost as many people in it. About 11 million people.
Cool.
It's a small country.
They speak Arabic there. I think that's and Adrian told you about Egypt. They speak Arabic, and it's the same language in Jordan, although they speak it a little bit differently. It's kind of like somebody from Texas speaking English and somebody from Pennsylvania speaking English. We can both understand each other, but sometimes, you know, we're not from the same area, right? Because we speak a little differently. And that's the same way Jordan and Egypt are. They both speak Arabic, but it's a little bit different.
Can you tell that Uncle speaks a little bit differently?
Yeah.
Different accent. We sound different to him.
Yes. The first time I ever called and talked to Grandpa, I had to have a translator. Yeah, he was talking too fast. Texans usually talk a little bit slower than you guys.
Yeah. It's funny, all the different dialects in the U.S.
He's saying the first time he ever called to talk to Rascal, he couldn't understand what Rascal was saying because Rascal spoke so quickly. And in the South, in Texas, they talk a lot slower. So he couldn't understand him.
But that's the same
You know,
way back to our subject, Jordan and Egypt. They can understand each other, but they speak Arabic a little bit differently. Just about everybody in Jordan is Muslim, but there is a small Christian minority. 4 to 5% of the people are actually Christians. And unlike a lot of the other countries, they are free to worship in their churches. Jordan is very safe for tourists, for Westerners, and they let the Christians worship, unlike some of their neighbors who have persecuted Christians. All right, let's talk a little history of Jordan here. Here's a map of Jordan back in the Bible times, and the three areas in the bottom there I wanted to talk about: the yellow one and the purple one and the orange one. Those were the kingdoms that were in Jordan, what's now Jordan, but these all had different kings back in Bible times. To the left again of Jordan is Israel, but these other
there's Israel.
I'm sorry?
There's Israel.
Israel is right here.
Wait, where's Israel?
right here, Kingdom of
Right, there's
Israel. It
Israel.
says.
There's Israel.
Israel.
Right. And just to the right of that, the kingdom of Ammon, they were called Ammonites in the Bible, but that's the capital of Jordan is today is still called Amman. And it's the biggest city in Jordan, the capital, Amman, and that's right where it is, right there. Both Ammon there and Moab, right below it, they are related to Israel because their ancestor was Lot. It's beyond the scope of where I want to go today, how they're related to Lot, but they are related. So they and Israel got along a lot of times back then. Sometimes, like families did, they had some fights. The bottom part, Edom, down there, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The capital of Edom is Petra, but Edom actually was started by a person in the Bible called Esau, and Esau's brother was Jacob. Jacob and Esau. That's Edom. So
Their
Edom,
ancestors, how they trace their history back to a certain person or place.
Esau killed Jacob.
He didn't.
Jacob killed.
You're thinking of Cain and Abel, the story of Cain and Abel.
Esau was the one who was really jealous. Oh.
I like this city up in the top called Umomium. Umomium.
I don't know. I should have deleted that because I figured I'd have a smart aleck in the class ask me that. Yes, that's beyond the scope of this course, I think.
It's like a song. It's like a chant. Yum, yum.
Thank you for that musical.
All right. So Petra down there in Edom is the site of many movies. I doubt if your dad has let you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark before, but this is
No.
a scene from that movie. And Petra is the most famous site in Jordan, and it's the most famous tourist attraction too. But it was a city built in the rock. Petra actually means rock, and
Oh, cool.
And it's considered, Petra is considered one of the 7 wonders of the New World, just because of how they built their city into the rock.
Do you see this photo, girls? It's literally the side of a mountain, and they carved into it with like shovels, and they made pillars, and they went into the mountain. Instead of building it from the ground, they took a rock and chiseled away at it until they had a city. Very different. It's like building a cave almost, except a city.
Maybe that's how we should build our next house. We should just find a big rock, start carving into it.
Maybe a tree. You can live inside a tree like an insect. I don't know, a bumblebee?
That's so skinny.
Well, they were probably wise to build it in the rock. Now, another famous site in Jordan is called Wadi Rum. And on the left, these 2 tourists that you see there, they're in front of a rock formation. They call it the 7 Pillars of Wisdom. In Jordan's history, this was a site that Jordan and the Arabs had their revolutionary war against the people who controlled that area back then. It's called the Turks. And there was a British general during World War I. I think y'all have learned a little bit about world wars. In World War I, the British were fighting the Turks, and they thought they were being smart, and they became friends with some of the people who lived in Jordan, these Bedouins over here. And there's a picture of one on the right. That's actually the people who lived in Jordan at the time. And Mr. Lawrence, T.E. Lawrence, there was a famous movie called Lawrence of Arabia, and he helped the Arabs to defeat the Turks. And that's when they became independent. It was only about 100 years ago. And T.E. Lawrence wrote a book called The Seven Pillars of Wisdom, which is actually interesting because it's based on the Bible. Proverbs 9:1 says the house built on 7 pillars. And it was hard to count, but he helped me count. You can't see all 7 columns there in that picture on the left, but there are seven columns if you go around the corner there. But the Bible, Proverbs 9:1 says the house built on 7 pillars, and it means pillars is something that supports the house, like the columns in the front of the house sometimes you see. And it goes on in the Bible, James talks about wisdom has 7 features: being pure, peaceable, gentle, reasonable, merciful, unwavering, and without hypocrisy. So Mr. Lawrence was basing his book, The 7 Pillars of Wisdom, on the Bible, but Arabs, being smart, decided they would name this column the 7 Pillars. And Wadi Rum is a real historical site, but it's also an important world site of heritage for the Arabs there. But you can see in the picture, this is what most of Jordan looks like. It's very sandy desert, and there's not much to it except rocks.
A whole country of rocks.
Yeah, just like the people in Israel wandered in the wilderness. If you get 40 days out there, but just like Jordan has along the Jordan River, they can grow food along the river. And this food is chicken and lamb are their primary meats. The national dish there on the right is called mansuf, which is made from lamb. But they grow a lot of...
Hayden's sad about people eating lamb.
I'm sorry.
Here, I'll cover your ears while he talks about lamb. So quick.
Well, not everybody eats that. A lot of people eat the fruits and vegetables. Sorry.
Most people eat fruits and vegetables. Lots of fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, you see the other dishes there, but that was the national dish, and I should have been more sensitive there. Sorry.
That's fine.
But they have a lot of sweets. And Aunt Barb and I took advantage of a lot of those other pictures of the sweets with the fruits and vegetables. This is interesting. Animals in Jordan.
And she's back.
There's camels everywhere. Why do you think we saw a lot of camels in Jordan?
Because there's deserts.
Okay. There's deserts, but what makes a camel good in the desert? Why do you think?
It's humps because it stores water and food in there.
Very good. You can see the picture of the camels there in the middle right, but they're by a little watering hole. But you're right. That's why you see camels in the desert, and they're not very comfortable to ride on. By the way, we rode on the camel before. And, interesting story to me. The national animal of Jordan is called it's a white Arabian oryx. It looks kind of like an antelope. It's the first one on the left, I think. And it's a very pretty animal, but they became very scarce in Jordan. And actually, they became extinct in Jordan just because of people and other animals getting them. But about 70 years ago, right after World War II, actually, the United States zoos sent to Jordan some of their national animals, and they've repopulated the species now. But they can thank the American zoos for reintroducing their national animal, the antelope there, the white oryx.
Cool. And what's this little lizard down here? It's like a blue or purple lizard.
I see a Kathy.
Aunt Barb, you mean?
Yeah. Hi.
But yeah, in the desert, you'd think that there would be, just like people have a hard time living, you'd think a lot of animals would be have a hard time living there. But surprisingly, animals are very adept to even living in a desert area there.
See the little lizard?
No.
What about this bird, Uncle Gary?
Fun?
This little bird in the bottom right with the crazy
Yeah.
beak.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. Sorry.
We can make up a name.
Yeah.
What do you think, girls?
Your mom would enjoy taking pictures of these animals. I know she's the great.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Clothing. You like the clothing in Jordan here?
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
In the middle picture there, you see that man's wearing a scarf. There's a special name for that. Kafia. What do you think? Why do you think men wear scarves? Just to look pretty?
What do you think?
No.
Not sure how to answer the question.
What do you think a scarf would help them do?
People do wear those, like the like climb person and like a climb person.
I'm not sure what you mean. Why do you think he might wear
For
a scarf?
fashion.
Yeah. Fashion. Fashion.
Any other reasons?
No.
Go back to the Wadi Rum pic if you could, Drew, and
Sure.
show you the Bedouin again.
Show us.
Yeah.
See,
See,
look
he's got kind of a head covering on too. Now he doesn't have, I think he does have the scarf underneath. It's hard to see there. But when you're out in the desert there and the wind's blowing and the sand's blowing in your face, that scarf is really helpful because it can help block the wind and the dust from getting in your mouth and your nose. It's kind of like people are wearing these masks now. There's a reason you don't want all that coming into you. Now we don't want it going out of us, but the Arabs and the people in Jordan learned when the wind blows, it's good to have those scarves to protect you.
So Uncle Gary,
Yes.
so this is both how people dressed in the past, but also how people dress currently.
Yes, the traditional Bedouins. Now the Bedouins are kind of like our American Indians or Native Americans. The Bedouins are the natives there. The people that live in the big city, Amman, they will dress Western style clothing. But the people out in the countryside, this is still their typical dress, just like you saw the Bedouin there, and they all the men wear the kafayas, the scarves, still even today. That's just what yeah, and the colors of the kafaya are important. You see that he's got a red and white one, and that's often indicated that's the part of people of Jordan who came over from Palestine or from the Israel area. They wear the red and white kafayas. The native Bedouins are usually the black or black and white kafayas, like we saw on our other picture there. But so the colors can tell you a lot about the people too. You know, we may have our favorite colors just because we like them, whether you like green or pink or purple. I don't know what your favorite color is, but you know, you can have favorite colors, but sometimes, like in Jordan, it tells you a little bit more about the people, not just what they like, but where they're from.
What if you could only wear like yellow? Because we were from Pennsylvania, so that's like the only color that you wore. But people from Texas wore orange, and people from Alaska wore blue.
That would be kind of weird, wouldn't it?
But you'd also
People
know where
in-
people were from.
And people in Taiwan would wear hoods.
You would have to have 50 different colors.
Oh dear.
The next picture shows you a better picture of the tourist Petra, and you see famous tourists there.
Famous tourist.
You can see, that's my inner Indiana Jones there. I knew he was at that same spot at the movie, but
Being silly.
but that's actually just built into the rock of wall there, like Uncle Drew was saying. So it's very famous, very amazing, yes, sight to see. But Jordan is an interesting country. I wish we had more time to spend there, but I think it's certainly one that I hope a lot more people will be able to visit sometimes. You girls are lucky. You've got an uncle who's been to just about every place in the world, or most places. And
I've only been to 35 countries, actually. So most of the world I haven't been to.
Oh, okay. Well, you've been to a
But
lot.
compared to many people.
Yeah.
And,
I'm reading this.
and what?
Why does it say
Petra.
famous?
Uncle Gary's being silly. He's saying, look, it's the most famous tourists in
I was
Petra.
And
trying to
then
be.
it says not really famous, but it says famous up there.
Because he's being silly. He's saying, look at these famous tourists. And then he's letting you know the truth. We're not really famous. It's just us.
Yeah, I was trying
Like
to be
when I
silly.
tell you that I'm a panther, but I'm not actually a panther. It's like that.
But one thing I think it's important as you girls are learning, and I think you've seen all these different places in the world. Last slide is what Adrian gave me, because she knows we like to travel. Without geography, we're nowhere, so literally you have to think about that. If we didn't have geography in the world, we wouldn't know where we're at. So
Without
geography,
we'll know.
no.
it helps us know where we are in the world and where others are in the world.
So
And one last thing to remember: without
Geography,
we'll nowhere.
without gravity, we'd also be nowhere.
Well, we'd be a lot of different places.
that's good. But you girls have learned about a lot of different places in the world. I know Egypt and Slovenia, and now Jordan, and so it's good. I think that's one thing I've learned in traveling. It's good to understand. Just like in Jordan, people are different, but we're still the same people. We may have different customs. We may have food that we don't particularly care for. There's different kinds of animals there. They wear different clothes, but deep down, the world is still the same of people. And I hope we get to understand and appreciate our differences, but also appreciate our common aspects too of being that. So
Amen to that.
Our common ground.
I hope you learned a little bit about Jordan today.
Yeah. What do you say to Uncle Gary?
Without geography, we'll nowhere.
You like that phrase? Without geography, we're nowhere.
And one last thing to remember:
I have a question. What
Hey, Barb.
country have you enjoyed learning about the most
Oh,
Good
such
question.
a hard.
so far?
Why don't you name, if you can't come up with one, name maybe like 2 or 3 that you really enjoyed.
Panama,
Belize,
Oh,
some other.
Panama, Argentina,
You guys like learning about
and-
Tasmania a lot.
and Tasmania, and Brazil, and a lot of others.
Oh yeah,
What about Canada?
I like that.
Lots of different places.
Oh, and Haiti. Quinn.
Haiti was a good one.
Mhm.
yeah, Haiti. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I had.
Thank you. Have a great
All right.
day.
All right. Good to see you.
Bye.
Good to see you. Thanks for the technical help, Drew.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much, Uncle Gary. See
All
you,
right,
Barb.
bye.
Bye.